Hey y'all, what's up everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Just so you guys know, if I look ghetto fabulous today, our air conditioner is working, but it's like in my car the thermostat said 106. So it is not nice here in Arkansas right now, and I'm not enjoying it at all. So Sean, I see you back there. Just give me a second. I'm going to unprivate this live over on Facebook and share it, and then I'll bring you on, okay? So get yourself comfortable and all that good stuff. As far as on YouTube, you guys, what's up? Thanks for being here. Please share the video out. We are going to wrap up Sean's experience, strength, and hope, because we've been going at this for multiple times, and we talk too much when we get on live. So this time I'm going to shut up and let him tell his damn story, because I'm just over here talking too much. So let me get this situated for Facebook. Hold on, y'all, because we're live on Facebook as well. So hey y'all. Hey, what's up, you guys? Hey, Pixie. Hey, Princess J. What's up, baby? Okay. Neil's sitting right beside me working on a puzzle. So if y'all hear him, it's his
I'm going to let Jen out.
Secret puzzle he's over there working on. Okay.
Hold on, Jen. I'm coming, baby.
Okay. All right, let's get Sean up here now. Hold on. Okay, Sean, I'm ready. Sorry about that. Okay, bada bing, bada boom. Hey, bud.
What's up?
What's up with you? How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How about you? Oh no. You froze.
Am I back?
Ah, you're back.
Okay, sorry about that. Tell me about what the weather is like over there in Oregon.
Sunny with the chance of wildfire. You know, it's real smoky and pretty. I guess there's like ash all over our car and stuff, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad.
Is it hot, like 106 degrees, or is it like wet hot?
That was us last week. We had like a real dry heat wave last week. This week it's been much better, which is great because I'm kind of pale, in case you haven't noticed.
I have noticed that.
Yeah. Your boy turns into Larry the Lobster out there when it gets hot. So
it is so hot here. Like, I went to pick Nate up from school, and I was trying to imagine that I was on a glacier in another country, like laying on ice, because I was standing there and it was so hot. Like, I was just so uncomfortable. And the heat, it's like the sun. I don't remember the sun being this hot when we were kids. Do you?
No, I don't. It's got to be the laser beams, man. It's the laser beams they're shooting down out of the sky. Like, come on.
I swear to God, like, I don't know what is going on, but when I was a kid, I loved being outside during the summer. Now that I'm like, I cannot handle it. It's just too hot. Okay, enough small talk. What I want to get into today is I want to know about how you got your relationship with suboxone to a healthy point. Tell us about when you first tried to get on suboxone, how that experience with or methadone, whichever one it was, I can't remember exactly. And then tell us about how you got to where you're at today, because today you're in a good spot. And so I'm going to mute myself so that way, like, if my dog doesn't bark or something like that. But if I have any questions, I'll be coming in.
Yeah, please chime in.
Okay, go ahead, buddy. You got the floor.
Okay. So like we were kind of talking about in the last podcast, my initial relationship with Suboxone wasn't particularly healthy. That's not to say that it wasn't much healthier than my relationship with the illicit substances that I was using, because it definitely was a healthier relationship, but I wouldn't call it healthy. And we kind of touched on the reasons why, when you're getting it from an illicit source. Illicit sources also carry other illicit goods, and they're not necessarily reliable. And then on top of that, of course, if you do get caught with, the Suboxone in this case, you're going to be charged criminally as if you were caught with another scheduled substance. And so, my initial relationship with it wasn't very healthy. We talked about methadone a little bit in the last podcast too. I did have a relationship with methadone. We can kind of get into that down the line. But the way that I got to a healthy point with Suboxone is the last time that I got on it, I decided to actually go through the proper channels, go into a facility that was going to be monitoring me via, a UA. They were going to be monitoring me for the first couple of weeks. They were going to watch me take the medication right there in the office. They did follow-ups. And my nurse practitioner, she probably went a little bit outside of her job description, but she actually acted somewhat like a therapist for me in early recovery. I'm an emotional person. And so pretty much anybody who was willing to be in my life at that point somewhat acted as a therapist for me, because, if you were going to talk to me, I was going to get emotional. And so I got really lucky that I had a good nurse practitioner who was willing to kind of cross over into a little bit of therapy, you could say, or she was at least just willing to hear me, which was kind of the therapy that I was looking for.
I can relate to be in that way. Like when I first got on Suboxone, getting with the doctor that I was with, I hated his guts because he was the doctor from the treatment center that I went to. And he really told me about myself. But then they assigned me to a different doctor, and I was able to open up to that doctor and talk to him more about struggles that I was having in my everyday life. And they would ask us that stuff too when I would go into the clinic to see the doctor. And so that was really helpful for me, because I'm the same way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So, from there, I kind of got to a point where, and I think this happens for a lot of us people who struggle with addiction, but I got to a point where, because I had so much time away from the streets and away from actively using every day, I kind of started to build up, lines of defense isn't really the right word, because I started to build things that I didn't want to lose. You know what I mean? I started to, I got a job. After getting that job, I was able to get myself an apartment. After getting that apartment, I was able to start acquiring some things that I hadn't even had. When I first got sober, I didn't even know how to really use a smartphone, because I started using when I was 15. Yeah, I didn't even know. Still to this day, Kristen's she's got to do half the technological stuff for me, because I'm learning, but I'm not great at it.
What were you using? A flip phone?
Oh yeah, man, I was using a potato, straight up potato, and I was raised by my grandparents, and we didn't even have a computer until we got a laptop when I was in 9th grade. And, there wasn't TV really. I mean, both my grandparents worked really hard. They weren't home very much. I actually used to sneak out of my bedroom in the middle of the night, because they would watch TV for just 1 hour before they went to bed. And I'd sneak out of my bedroom and lay right next to the couch on the floor. And they had no idea I was watching all the shows they were watching too. But yeah, so I wasn't very good with technology, and, getting my own phone, getting my own computer, starting to acquire these things that I would pawn in an instant. They would be gone. Bye-bye. Finito. Adios. They'd be out of my life in a day if I relapsed.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
When me and Neil, when we started out, we were living in my mother and father-in-law's house because they were renting it to us. Big ass 2-story house, right? But we didn't have shit. We had to get a couch from the Goodwill. We bought a big old school screen TV with the back end that comes out of it.
Yeah.
We didn't have anything. And so now that we live here, we have our own screen TVs in every room, and the laptop, and, my husband has his arsenal that he collects, and all these different things that are worth lots of money. Yes. And so normally we would have pawned his $400 or $500, blocks to get drugs. And we had done it many times before, but now him and my son can do things together and collect things. And it's not going to go bye-bye. Today I got a $2 bill at Starbucks, and I'm putting it in my son's little thing to keep. Normally I would have taken that $2 bill and been like, I'm $2 closer to a crack rock.
Yes.
What I mean?
Yeah. So my grandfather, before he died, My grandparents took me in when I was 6, and my grandfather passed away when I was 12. And before he died, he left me a coin collection, and it had, like 1860s silver dollars, and even one coin from the Ottoman Empire in like 100 AD. Like it gave me some really old coins, and you can probably guess where those coins are at today.
Yeah.
And I still like, there are certain things that, you learn to kind of forgive yourself for in recovery. But even if you kind of get past that and you forgive yourself for some of these things, doesn't mean that they don't still sting. And it doesn't mean that you don't still think about them. And that's one of the things that I still think about all the time is that coin collection, because he spent, God, I don't know, probably 30 years collecting some of those coins. And when I was 16 years old, I had an 18-year-old buddy of mine pawn them,
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so Suboxone initially allowed me to sort of accrue skills, and even things like, being able to take a shower every day, being able to have food when I needed food, steady paycheck, begin to develop a social network and like have people that cared about me and relationships that I had invested in. And so, once you build that sort of stuff up, which it takes a lot of time and effort, that's for me what really keeps me sober, keeps me going even after Suboxone.
Yeah. Like a lot of people, if you've never struggled with like addiction or at least severe addiction problems, like you might not understand like not being able to take a shower or get up or even have a place to take a shower. Like having to take a horse bath in the 7-Eleven bathroom where you just wipe everything down real fast, that sucks. And so like when you go from being basically destitute to having like gaining all these amazing things back in your life, like family support, your own apartment, fucking a new coin collection, whatever it is, all the equipment that you use to film your videos and stuff like that is a big deal. And I guess normal people might not be able to relate to that because that's what they do. They buy these things and they hold on to them, So I always think, because my dad would always say to me like, oh my gosh, why? And I could never make him understand that until one day I was able to really sit down with him and explain to him what drugs made me feel like when I took them. You know what I mean? Because he couldn't grasp that. He was just like, you're throwing your money away. You're just throwing it at this. You're throwing it at that. You're wasting it. And it's like, unless you've been in that position where you've tried something and it gave you so much pleasure that there's nothing better than that you're willing to like risk and lose everything else. It's really hard to understand, Yeah. And I hope that me and Sean are doing a good job of helping anybody that's here that's listening that doesn't understand addiction. I hope through listening to Sean share that this helps you to understand a little bit better. Because I know a lot of people watch my channel that have kids that are struggling and they don't understand like what is going on. Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is there anything different that your grandparents could have done to help you when you were going through your addiction?
Yes. So my grandfather, by the time I started using, had already passed. And, so my grandmother is really who was raising me while that was kind of going on. I think a lot about my grandfather. My grandfather was a man of very few words. And when he spoke, it really meant something. And so I can like fantasize all day about, if my grandfather hadn't passed, maybe he would have been like a stern male role model in my life as a young man and this sort of thing. And I think about that all the time. But the reality is he did pass. When it comes to my grandma, what I will say about my grandma is she, even if she made some mistakes, she tried her best always, literally always. Everything that she did, whether it was helpful or not helpful, was with the best intentions in mind. And so some of the things that, like, having said that, some of the things, you know, that I think maybe would have benefited me, and my situation's a little unique because my grandmother, you know, she had already raised 4 children. Now she's raising another one. She's working full time, and she had to travel to different states for work. And so one thing that would have helped me a lot would have just been her being there. And that's not something that she could control at the time. But if she had been there and she had caught on, because a lot of us, when we're kids and we have these kinds of issues, we aren't, you know, only terrified by the fact that we all of a sudden have this super complex issue, which is being dependent on these substances. But we're also terrified that our parents are going to find out. We're terrified that the school is going to find out, that our friends are going to find out. It seems like this big, giant, you know, thing. And so because of that, I personally got very, very good at hiding it and pretending like nothing was going on. And so I think if you can, you know, if you already know that your child is struggling and you're aware of it and it's already an open thing between the two of you, I think leaning as far away as you can from shame and leaning more into what do we need to do together to get you better. That's probably the best thing you can do. Cause I know shame, it for me, it was like, that was my biggest fear. And I would use right in front of people and then say that I didn't, you know, and it was like super obvious, but I would do anything to hide it. And you don't want that, you know?
I think because of the way society teaches us that drugs are bad, don't do drugs, just say no. So parents are automatically set up to like instill shame in you if they catch you. And that's how I feel about it as well. Like if I caught Nathaniel drinking or smoking or something like that, I would sit him down and let him know that I wasn't mad at him. I'm not disappointed in him. What he's doing is, I mean, I did the same thing. It's experimentation, but we want to nip it in the bud at that point so it doesn't get any worse. And I would try to share with him the risks of the things that could happen if he continued on using by sharing with him my own experience of losing custody of him and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that would help a lot. And so I absolutely agree with you. Now that you have been able to, you know, get your life back, you have a relationship with your loved ones, you're going to be getting married. Tell me what you do to maintain your sobriety on a regular, everyday basis now in the present day.
Okay, so I have a lot of things. I have a lot of things that I do, and I talked a little bit about, you know, having things in my life that I'm afraid of losing. That's one line of defense. Another line of defense that I have is I've developed just about as many coping mechanisms that I possibly can. And when I say coping mechanisms, I also have like a hierarchy to my coping mechanisms. So like there's certain things that I absolutely love to do. Like I love to go to the gym. And for me, going to the gym almost has a similar addictive energy about it to the substances. So, you know, I have to kind of be careful with that one, not to like overdo it, but I love doing that. And so one of the things that I do is like, depending on what's going on in my life and my stress levels, I will try to take some of these, I call them coping mechanisms, but really they're like hobbies, or they're like, you know, things that I can put my energy and my time into. And I'll try to do the ones that I get the most enjoyment or the most fulfillment out of. And, you know, I think like ultimately I always have a hard time explaining this one, because I think ultimately what it takes for somebody to sort of like stay sober or keep themselves from going back or relapsing is different for everybody. And so like for me, I go to the gym, or I try to, you know, go and do things that I like doing. I go down to the river, I go hiking, we have kayaks, I go kayaking, I do all these things. And, you know, but for other people, it's different. Like I've got a friend who, like, one of his favorite things to do is write poetry. And so like he'll just sit down and write poetry for hours. Like if he's having a craving, he'll sit down and write poetry for like 3 hours straight. I can't do that. In fact, if I sat
me neither. I couldn't rhyme if I wanted, or write poetry if I wanted to.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I do a lot of things. I also try to remind myself that, you know, my default for stress is always going to be within varying levels. It's always going to be, because I've trained myself this way for 10 years. It's always going to be, oh, we're stressed out. Oh, there's a catastrophe. Get high. And as time goes on, you know, at first it's like, and they use the term like white knuckling in sobriety.
Yeah.
There's going to be white knuckling in the beginning. And the best way I found to deal with that is like distract yourself. But over time, you really can sort of retrain your brain to find a different coping mechanism.
Yeah, and like you said, you've shifted into, all right, so now you're working out. Like that's, you say you even do it almost to an addictive point. So you have to make sure that you don't do it too much.
Yeah.
And Sean also likes to like get obsessive, don't you, with what like with what you eat also,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like control.
So, yeah, total control. I mean, like borderline, could you call it maybe an eating disorder if it got bad enough?
See, I eat a lot of food. I would say that,
but not restricting, but like the kind of food is very important to you that you put in your mouth. So it's like healthy foods and stuff like that. And so instead of being obsessive with like using substances and getting high, now it's kind of transitioned to a healthy obsession of staying sober, staying healthy, eating the right foods. Yeah. I'm trying to make myself do that. It's very hard for me because I don't care what kind of food it is. If it tastes good, I'm eating it because I like the way it tastes. I like to eat. And so I'm trying to be more careful and care more about like the ingredients and eating foods that I prepare at home and not foods that I get outside from the house. You know, what I think is we have to find our purpose and something that gives us a reason to live.
Yes.
Because before we didn't want to live. You know what I mean? Before we were like okay with dying, like we didn't want to kill ourselves maybe, but sometimes we did. But if we died, we were like, it's all good. I die with a needle hanging out of my arm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so now I had to find what makes me want to live. And that is being a mom to my little boy. You know, for you, that could be being with your partner and being able to support her and be a positive role model in other people's lives in recovery. You know, making recovery content, not trying, you're doing it, making recovery content and helping people online with that. Like that was what my first purpose was, my son. And then when that purpose was no longer like sufficient enough to help me stay sober, I switched to a new purpose, which was, okay, I got my kid back. He's doing good. I'm a great mom. Now I want to try and help other people. And that helps me to have a new drive and a new purpose and a new reason to live. And if that ever gets to a point where like it's not something that's helping me, it's hurting me, or it's a negative thing, then I'm going to have to find a new purpose. You know, I think that is I think that's what you're trying to share too. But you tell me what.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to share. And I also think that, you know, like community service is a super important part of this too, because, you know, it just makes you, when you've gone through something yourself and you see other people, and everybody's situation is different. So you have to be careful not to like apply your own like methods or ideology onto everybody. But when you see other people and you see some of the things that they're going through and you went through them yourself, it makes you feel good to be able to, even if one person, you can give them one nugget, one small thing that helps them and kind of can help set them on a similar path. It makes you feel really good too. You know, you're helping people. It makes you feel good. I think that's important. And, you know, like I've said this before too, you do a really good job of that. You're one of the first addiction creators that I found. You're one of the first addiction creators that sort of inspired me to even try to do it myself. And so, you know, again, like you
and
do an
thank
awesome
you for
job.
saying that.
Yeah.
Because, according to the internet, I'm a whole ass body broker this week, honey.
Oh yeah. The internet. The internet knows everything. No,
I just have to stop responding and like listening to it, because honestly, it will drive me insane, because I have this like deep drive to defend myself for some reason. And I do not know why I feel like I need to do that. Like in my heart of hearts, I know what I do. I know how I help people. I know what my job is. And I still have this drive that I need to like, I'm lagging. Okay, there I am. I still have this drive to like defend myself for some reason. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Did I just die? Oh, come on, computer.
Oh,
there we are. I was like, oh my God, I just died. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and that's something that I just have to keep on working on in my recovery, because that's obviously there's something going on inside of me that I still need validation from straight.
Yeah. I think that goes back to the time that we spent using too. I mean, think about how many people try to take advantage of you when you're living the kind of lifestyle that you and I lived. And you can't just turn these things off. Like all this stuff from addiction, all this trauma, all these habits, you really can't just turn them off. You have to just learn how to deal with them in other ways. And like, but I also want to say this, as far as the whole situation that you're going through right now, when you when you point something out about a creator, okay, that has like a huge following, they're a big creator, and you see something going on that you're very well aware, and many people are aware, is not kosher, and you point it out, they're going to come for you. Like that's just because they're doing the same thing. They're getting defensive as well. And that's why they're coming for you. And the people who support them will get defensive. And we saw this with BJ getting sued by Lima, and so, but if you're coming from a place where you're telling the truth, you're being honest, you're doing all this stuff, like, people are they're just going to do that to you.
And there's nothing to worry about, because that has been my whole thing, is that I'm just going to stay doing what I know is right, with just telling the truth.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I have no axe to grind. I have nothing to gain from lying. If anything, I'm a psychopath for even trying to go up against somebody that has the following that what's her face has. You know what I mean?
I think it's admirable. I think it's admirable. I'll be
Here
honest,
I go into the trenches.
Somebody has to say it. I got a video that I made. I don't know when I'm going to put it up. Probably in the next couple days, about Mark from Soft White Underbelly. And the last time I made a video about Mark from Soft White Underbelly, I got a lot of people, frustrated with me for some of the things that I said. But I ultimately, I think that, if you're coming at something with pure intentions and you're telling the truth, or at least your truth, and you are like, you can see these things, like some of these things you can just blatantly see, like people are doing some weird stuff. And so if you're coming at it and you're pointing it out, it's like, in my opinion, the truth is important and it matters, and it will ultimately prevail one way or another.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that video. I'm really excited, and we're going to have your back no matter what. Do not listen, I used to post videos, and then if I would get a bad response, I would take the video down. Don't do that. Like, I mean, you can if you want to. If it goes against what let's say you put up a video a year ago and it goes against what you believe now, I understand taking it down. But like, if you work on it and it's a great video, like, he has a large following, a cult following, and it's going to be, at first, people are going to like, why are you doing that? But once they see what you're talking about, but a lot of people will see, if they can see it, then you're going to be good. So I really look forward to seeing that video, because I know it's going to be amazing. If you guys haven't been watching Sean's content, he's been putting out videos reacting to BJ's videos and the situation with Lima and Bam Margera and Amanda Rabb, and it's just really, really good. And we have a lot in common. We believe in doing the right thing, right? And so, like, there's something shady going on underneath the surface that other people who maybe are not involved in the treatment industry or haven't been to rehab or don't know about these things or the laws or whatever wouldn't normally know. You know, I would have never guessed what was going on, all this stuff with BAM and Lima and all these conservatorships and all this.
Oh yeah. It's an absolutely wild situation. It's in my opinion, it's a direct result of the treatment industry being, in bad shape. I think it's a direct result of, there not being a lot of great options out there for people. And, the great options that are out there for people aren't as easy to find. And so, I think people like this can sort of step in and they can take over this whole entire niche. And I've seen it happen firsthand. Like we talked about some of the methadone clinics in Portland. I've seen it happen firsthand. People owning clinics that definitely shouldn't own clinics. I knew one lady who owned a clinic that was diverting a bunch of the methadone to her family. Like both of her kids were users, and she was diverting it, keeping a bunch of it in her garage. She ended up fleeing down to Mexico. It was a big, crazy story in Portland. So I've seen some of this stuff firsthand, and there's a lot more than meets the eye with the internet and things that people, put on there, or people that get platformed for certain reasons because their agent knows somebody else's agent. And, you get into this whole big old web. And people like you and I, who struggle with these things end up suffering. So
just regular people who are trying to make videos to help people over here. That's all we're trying to do over here. Okay. 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 Tell me. Okay. So now, what are your plans for the future? I know, tell everybody. Oh, I'm not going to, you can tell them. He's getting married, y'all. But so girls, don't even comment and say nothing because he's taken, and I will whoop you because I love his wife, even though I haven't met her yet. Do you know what I mean? So tell us about you and your girl getting married soon. And then are you planning to get off Suboxone? Do you want to have children? What are your plans for your recovery in the future?
Yeah, so we're getting married in September on the 23rd. It's kind of surreal for me because we've been together for 10 years. And I've mentioned before that, she's never had any addiction issues. And, it's kind of crazy for me that we've gotten to this point together. The way that I like to explain it is, these drugs are so powerful and they provide so much dopamine for especially for how hard you have to work to get them. I mean, it's like a dopamine button. You can just press it over and over. And so it takes something equally as powerful to get you, to that point where you're ready to make a change. And like for Nicole, it was her son, and getting her son back was powerful enough to lead her to the point to make a change. And for me, it really took the prospect of losing my partner who I've been with for 10 years, or at that point in time, I guess it would have been 6 or 7 years when I got sober. But it took almost losing that for me, and actually losing that for me altogether, for me to finally come to a point where the emotion from that was more powerful than than the allure of the drug. So that's crazy to me that we're even getting married. We definitely want to have kids. I've got this, neither of my parents were in my life, and I have this burning desire to have children and try and give them, to the best of my abilities, what I didn't have. And so, that's definitely in the cards in the future. We're probably thinking about 1 to 2 years so that we can kind of set ourselves up.
Having a kid is the shit, man. Even though I didn't get to experience it as good as I wanted to, but when they start getting old enough and act like, my son will look at me, he'll go, and I'm like, oh my God, he just did my face and said the same things. It's like they're literally you, and you get. It is so much fun. Nathaniel is so cutting, he's cookie cutter of me and his dad right down the middle, exactly like both of us. And it's so much fun to see him getting older and getting his own personality and all the things. So you're going to love that for real.
That's one of the things I'm real excited about. And like every now and then I joke because Kristen is extremely competitive, and you know I am. I'm not extremely competitive, but I guess I'm an intense individual. So her and I always joke that like we're all excited right now, and then we're gonna have kids, and if they're a mix of both of us, it's gonna be wild. But like I'm here for it, I'm ready for that. And going forward, like plans for the future after that. I mean, I don't know. I think that her and I might move at some point. We're not exactly sure where yet. We like the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Kind of quieter. You get a lot of snow and weather and stuff there. But both of us at some point would like to be working fully remote. I actually just, this, Nicole, but I didn't tell anybody else this yet. I actually just had my final interview for a job that I would really, really love to have today, right before doing this podcast. And so, if I get that job, I'm going to be really stoked. It's fully remote. They send you a desktop, send you a work phone, all that stuff. And
that'll be cool.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. And man, I don't know. Just taking it one day at a time other than that.
That's the only way it can be. Way it can be. When y'all have kids, I'm going to be excited to see what they look like. And I'm so excited for you that you're getting married to somebody that you care about and that loves you. I can't wait to hear. I want to have her come on with you one day because I would love to hear her talk about like what it was like to try and help you during your addiction and what it took for her to finally be like, listen, you're either going to get sober or up out of your life. Like I want to hear her talk about that because for me, it was so hard. When Neil relapsed in 2020, I couldn't do that fully. I couldn't commit to you're going to get the fuck out of my life or I'm never going to talk to you again. Like it was so hard, And so, if she was able to fully commit to or if you were able to make a change and say, I don't want her to do that. I'm going to get better now. I want to hear about that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But I really, really, I don't want to keep you on too long. I really thank you for coming on here and sharing with me. I want to keep this short and sweet so that way people actually watch it. We will be on here for an hour and a half to 2 hours if I allow us to be.
Yes. That's a fact. I can blast.
You know what I mean? Sure. I will link all your social medias. I love you so much. Thank you for coming on. And I'll see you next time, I guess. Okay.
I love you too. And two real quick things.
Yes, tell us.
One, are we still planning on doing the Halloween costumes? Because I'm going to go all out if we're doing that.
Okay, so we want to do so are we going to do it on Halloween night? It'll be later on Halloween night, okay? Yeah. Because I'll take Nate trick-or-treating around 7-ish when it gets dark here, and then I'll be home by 9 or 10, if that. It won't even be that late. We can probably jump on at 9:45. But we need to connect and decide what kind of costume you're going to wear, what kind of costume I'm going to wear, and kind of work it together. And then we can just have a sober Halloween night live stream for people that maybe don't want to go out and get fucked up at the Halloween parties, don't feel comfortable doing that. And we can talk about just all kinds of stuff. We can tell story times. We can talk about different ways to stay sober and not go to the Halloween parties and get fucked up.
Yeah.
And just all kinds of stuff like that. So yes, that's all. I have it on my little calendar.
Perfect, because I'm so stoked for the costumes. I want to just knock.
Well, you got to tell me what you're going to be, and then I'll piggyback off that. Okay, so I want it to be something if you're going to be what we talked about on the phone, then I want to be something that kind of goes with that.
Let's do it.
But we're not going to tell anybody what it is.
Yeah, we're not going to tell anybody. No, y'all have to guess it in the comment section.
Okay, cool. What else you want to tell us?
Oh, the last thing, when you mentioned bringing Kristen on.
Yeah.
When her suboxone study is concluded, I would love for you to interview her about it. She said that she can totally talk about it. Obviously, she can't give any names of anything. But she wants to talk about the suboxone study that she's done, and you would be the best person to interview her. So I was just going to throw that out there too.
Okay, I'm down. Yeah. And will you help me with questions? Because what the study has been about and everything that. Absolutely. So that way I can ask good questions. But yeah, that would be awesome. Yes. And also by then I'll pick your brain. Maybe you can help me and teach me how to pre-record an interview, and we can actually edit stuff into it that has to do with that. Okay.
Let's do it. That sounds like a good plan. Let's do it.
Thank you so much. Okay, everybody go subscribe to Sean's channel, Sober Thoughts, and I will link it in the comment section of this video in the description box. And I love you, man. I'll see you later, okay?
Thanks for having me, y'all. Thank you, Nicole. See you soon.
You're welcome. Be good. See you later.
See ya. Bye.
Okay, guys. We all love Sean around here, so y'all heard it here first. We're going to be doing a Halloween night live. We're going to be wearing costumes. I'm laughing because I remember what he told me he was going to dress up as, and I'm just thinking about how I'm going to dress up. And y'all are going to die, but it's going to be fun. And we can have it'll be like a Halloween party. It'll be like a sober Halloween party only on a live stream. So that way we're not getting out there, getting all fucked up and doing all that kind of stuff. Okay. So I hope you guys enjoyed hearing from Sean. I'm going to get his channel links and put them all in the description box and in the comment section. I'm going to get off here, charge my computer, and let Nate play Minecraft. Y'all already know he's been in here twice asking me about the damn Minecraft. So thank you guys for supporting us. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Okay. All right. Bye, y'all.
We're going to be,
hold on. Don't say anything because I'm still live.